Hi, it's Wendy from Tai Chi, The Way of Life. That is where you're going to find me on Facebook. My YouTube channel is Wendy Chan Tai Chi, and please do subscribe. It's just directly below this video. Alright, it seems like a little while since I've made the video. I hope you are all well. So we have been talking about a lot on, Tai Chi is an internal art. So what makes it different from being internal and external? So external is all the external movements you could see on the outside when you're doing your forms, but in the internal you can't see because it's all happening in the inside. So if you have been following my videos, I have been focusing a lot on the quad area, which is the hip flexor, which is the muscle itself, and it's probably go a little bit deeper than that. It's your psoas muscles, which I also have seen posts about that. And yes, it is very, very true. Lots of people have problems with those muscles, and it can cause all sorts of problems to your, not just your lower back pain, but even leg pain, knee pain. So your psoas muscles, okay, and but you see, when you think about that, you think about your back. There's a lot of people getting confused between the waist, which is the trunk area, and then there's actually the hip area, and that is the area that we should be, it's actually moving from. So I have read a few posts from different, very variety different of martial arts and Tai Chi groups. They're getting confused between the hip and the waist. In my understanding, and again, I can foresee people are going to disagree with me. So this is my attempt to try and show you the difference between the two. So I got my student to do this as well, you see. So if you go into your, so I'm just going to go into my seated position. Okay, so I'm sitting, I'm in a parallel stance. All right, as parallel as I can be. And I'm sitting down, yeah? So you sink. So a lot of the time when we think of sinking, you think about just bending your knees. I mean, I'm not saying you don't bend your knees, of course you do, but it's a little bit more than that. So I've bent my knees, but if I really want to sink, so I'm sinking, so where were we sinking? Okay, are we just sinking into our heels? I don't know whether you just noticed that or not. So I'm just going to do that again. So I do start off in a seated position. So, I've got my tailbone, or I tilt my hip so that I am in a seated position. That's when I'm sitting down on something. And of course, never forget about, the suspended feelings up at the top. So you don't want everything going down, all the energy just going down one way. So, but if I sink, so I'm going to sink, but I'm going to suspend at the same time. So I sink, I relax more. So it's this area that you're sinking into. You don't sink into your waist. So if you're going to sink into your, so I'm going to keep my knee in the same position, but I'm actually just going to sink more into my hip. This is your hip area, which is, the Chinese word is hua, okay? It's in there, all right? It doesn't mean I sink into my waist. So when you come to your movement, why then come from your waist? The waist actually follows your hip. So I then got my student to do this movement. So if you want, you can go into a wider stance, still in a seated position. And then if you come out, okay, so rather than just a small circle, you can come into a big circle. If you then sink into your quad area, okay, so lots of people would misunderstand this as bending the back, but in effect, so I'm just going to come up, back up, but what I'm doing is I'm still back into my seated position. So I don't know whether you've noticed something else as well. So I'm going to come down so I go deeper into my heart. Okay. 45 degrees is my vision at the moment because I'm down here. On the way up, so my back hasn't changed position. So I don't know whether I should turn the other way and show you. So that movement was not bending the back. So if I was bending my back, it would look like this. I don't know whether you could tell the difference between the first movement and see my hand. That was another thing I want you to watch. So this is me. I am definitely using my back here. Didn't use my hip. So I'm going to repeat it. So I'm just going to go back to my seated position. So I'm going to sink into my hua. Then on the way back up, I am still in a seated position. Okay. If you noticed, because I'm sinking, I'm sinking into my hua area. It also does something to my hands. So if I'm sinking, my hands has to face upward. Okay. So if I don't relax, what happens there is I've relaxed. So I just allow whatever happens to my body. I didn't just deliberately turn my hands. It turned because I'm sinking in my hua area. So in effect, it's my hua. It's turning my hands. So there you go. Your internal art. Okay. So you don't need to turn it themselves. So I'm going to go back to my seated area position. Right. If I'm not so if I stop, if I don't let it turn, I can't sink anymore. So I'm actually tensing, okay, and not let my hand turn. I can't drop anymore. I have to use my back to drop. But if I relax, I'm in my seated position, big circle. I'm focusing on sinking. So my hands are still facing upwards. Because I'm still in a seated position, guess what? When I come back upright, my hands is actually still in an upright position. I didn't do this myself. If I stop it, if I try to stop, it doesn't let me sink. All right, I have to use my back. If I actually don't let it move, so I'm tensing my arm, I can't sink, I'm stuck. I need to use my back to come down. But if I relax, when I sink deeper in my hua area, my hands automatically turns. So if I come back, I'm still in my seated area. Looks like I've bent my back, but I have not bent my back. Okay, right. So sideways, if I bend my back, okay, I haven't sunk. That's me bending my back to go into this position and back up. I'm going to do the other way where I'm sitting. Okay, I'm not going to put my arms out. Can I? I don't know. Right, okay, so I'm sitting. I'm going to sink into my here. So and then I come back up. I'm still in that seated position in here. All right, okay, so I don't know whether you want to try that. I find it very, very fascinating myself. I have heard for a long time that your hands actually connect it to your hip flex, for your hua area, hip flexors area, your groin area, whatever you want to call it. And it is this sinking into here that's actually going to actually work your psoas muscles. It actually lengthens them. And I think I've successfully demonstrated to you that your quad is definitely connected to your hands, because it makes it turn. And that's where part of the spiral movements, but that I'm just touching on a tiny little bit, which I was trying to get my student to distinguish between when you're actually using the back to bend and when you're actually not using your back. And of course, I've seen lots of posts about people saying that the movement is coming from the waist. It isn't. Movement is coming from your hip. Okay, and then the rest of you follows. Okay, it's not the waist, it's the hip that allows you to pivot. That's my take. Anyway, you don't have to, please discuss and tell me what you think. Try it out yourself. Anyway, so thank you for watching, and until next time, see you then. God bless and bye for now. Oh yeah, I was meant to say that I have got a Zoom coming up on a Friday. I'm going to start at 5, which is the UK time at 5, which I'm going to work on. So I'm going to start a Qigong session that I am just going to work on all the internal principle towards Taichiquan. So if you want to join, just message me for information and for details. Okay, thanks. A bit of advertisement for you. I never have done in the past. I thought, I do want to, teach this to as many people as possible as well, for what I know, the limited knowledge that I have. Okay, right, bye.